Well, welcome to Vegas Live with Ninon and Ninon, your host. And of course, we're down here at the Pepper Mill. And yes, we are sitting in the Elvis Presley booth. Did you know that?
I had no idea.
You had no. Well, this is Jeffrey Peterson. Jeffrey Peterson has quite a history. And I'm learning about many, many things. And we were just having a conversation in the Pepper Mill. They have all these cameras around. And they actually have all these different bands. And you were talking about this band from Australia.
Mm-hmm.
And how successful. What was the name of the band?
Midnight Oil.
It was called Midnight Oil. And he said that they'd split up. And it's unusual for a band to split up and all become famous.
Yeah.
And you said one of them, the lead singer, became a governor or something in Australia.
Yes, Peter Garrett, the lead singer, became a governor of a province in Australia. Very politically minded band, and you know, to leave on a high note back in 1996.
No pun intended.
Yeah, and then come back.
And now you said they're all coming. And what has happened? And the reason I'm telling this story is because this is an unusual story. Because normally when a band splits up, they all go their different ways and they all try to see what they can do, and they all end up doing nothing. But this particular band didn't do that. Because they were all so successful, and I love to say when a band is successful, because they were so successful, they're all now coming back together again.
It's amazing.
And they'll probably be a #1 as well.
Yes, and they were a #1 hit artist with their song "Beds Are Burning," and I'm obsessed with Australian culture.
Why?
So, there's just such a rich. Uncharted history there.
There is, yes.
Ever since I saw Crocodile Dundee as a kid.
Oh yeah, he was amazing. Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to. And you know, an interesting story. I almost got on the Crocodile Hunter Challenge back in 2006. I was chosen as the #1 candidate for a new reality show to set place in the Australian Zoo. But the Australia Zoo with Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter.
Yes.
I was chosen out of 5,000 people. They
Wow,
told me I was
is that
the
an honor?
#1 candidate. Steve Irwin died 2 weeks later.
So,
My life
that
changed.
Whole thing
Yes.
changed completely. But I don't think it changed too dramatically.
It did not.
Because you're telling me a lot of things. You also told me a story about Shark Tank and how you were. And I want to hear this story. Well, and I want you to hear the story. I know the story, but I want you to repeat that story. What was that happened with Shark Tank?
Well, we know that there's a show on ABC called Shark Tank, which is millionaire executives, CEOs from these great companies.
They're amazing.
They give mentorship and or investment.
There's O'Reilly, there's Laurie, there's all of them.
Yeah, it's a gigantic sensation.
Mark.
Well, that spawned a offshoot in the cannabis world, which is the world I work in, and the show was called The Marijuana Show. In 2014, I was cast out of 200 people. Narrowed down to 10 people, and those 10 people were on a challenge in a reality TV show setting to each try to get an investor in the cannabis industry. Well, what I pitched was my comic books. I'm a former animator for Hanna-Barbera,
Walt
Warner
Disney,
Brothers.
move over.
All those,
There he comes.
I used to work for Marvel Productions back
Really?
20 years ago, so I decided I'm going to mix the genre of cannabis and superheroes, and to much great success, I was the only person on the show to get an investment.
Really?
King of Quality Productions stepped up, gave me a $25,000 investment, and although they were touting that millionaires would come out of this, that people would get millions, I was satisfied with that investment.
With the $25,000.
And it's
Pretty
done
cool.
It's done great things for me.
Yes.
I was written up in Forbes, Wall Street Journal, Inc. magazine, and now my latest project is
So you went from
coloring
this
book.
to the
A coloring book for adults.
Oh, it's a coloring book for adults. Because I know
which
marijuana
is
and all that
hugely
stuff.
popular right now. And
Now, why would that be so popular?
well, because you know what? It's become a very therapeutic tool for adults to kind of step back into their childhood a little bit and not be so serious. And what's neat is there's also these emotion pages where you
Sad.
if you've had a rough day, you can
Be happy.
work on a coloring book and get your frustrations out. You know, just kind of like what you did when you were a kid. Remember, your parents would tell you, go color,
Your parents would always go and tell you to go and do something.
Yeah.
Occupy your mind.
Right.
But it's funny, I was just telling a friend of mine the same thing, that when you're ever feeling down or so, you're feeling sorry for yourself, actually, which is, but maybe because no one's paying attention to you and you need attention, just go and do something very quiet, even if it's just sitting in the garden or just sitting somewhere quietly without the television, without the radio, without anything, and just relax. Or even if you're a woman or man, I guess both, knitting or whatever the case is, do something different. Take that anxiety and that stress off the mind.
And a lot of times we don't even appreciate what we're doing, that we're in the flow of life. I do stand-up comedy for a living, so oftentimes...
Are you funny?
I'm very funny. I'm a Vegas headliner. You can't be a Vegas headliner and not be funny.
I'm teasing him. He's taking me seriously.
And see, what's great is Rich Little needs to look out because he's spawned the next impression.
Oh, he's wonderful.
Because, I do impressions.
No, wait a second. The one the one you have to do.
Who's that?
Nixon,
I just watched something about Richard Nixon the other day.
Nixon does this.
But of course, right now, very popular Donald Trump. I tell you this,
Donald Trump.
And also I do an impeccable Barack Obama.
Barack Obama.
It's very, people don't expect a guy like me to do Barack Obama, but I do.
But you do.
Yes, I do over 20 impressions in my act. But what's neat is I catch myself in the act of doing what I love. Oftentimes I will look at the microphone, look at my feet, look at the audience, the stage, and go, I am living the dream. I mean, sometimes we don't do that enough. I mean, you're here doing what you love.
You know something? Yes, I'm doing what I love, and I happen to love it, and I enjoy it, and I think that I'm very, very blessed to have what I love and to be able to talk to so many different people, and sort of in the entertainment business, even in the real estate business, any business I can actually talk about. Which Nick, my producer, I surprise him because he says, "I don't care who I have on. You seem to know the subject." Well, that's because I'm interested in it and I love it. But I think what a majority of us do is knock ourselves down. And I'm always saying to people out there, don't knock yourself down, build yourself. Look how great you are, not how bad you are. Why do we do that?
Well, you know what? It's an easy way out because, life is a big pity party if you let it be. But I've overcome a lot of obstacles.
It's beautiful. Life is beautiful.
I really believe in the secret and the law of attraction that if you focus and think and think about goodness and beneficial things to your life, it's all about perpetual motion. There's no need to look back and see where we...
Look back can only give you an experience.
Right.
You cannot relive this. And something crossed, which was so stupid the other day, and somebody said, for every second you live, it's gone. And I never really looked at it that way. And then I sat there and I thought, every second I live is gone. And I'm thinking, well, how does that work out? But it's true.
Right.
I mean, 5 minutes ago, I'm not going to live that again.
We're not. But you know what? You made an impression on somebody 5 minutes ago.
I hope so. I hope so, because that's my thing.
And it's evident. I mean, you have the kind of character that draws people toward you.
Well, because I like people.
Yeah.
I really like them. And I love what you do. Let's get back onto what you do. In your comedy, you obviously do a lot of comedy in Vegas.
I do.
How are you perceived in the big hotels? Are you able to get to the big hotels? Are you in?
I am. I'm performing, headlining at the Rampart Casino this Thursday, and I do often perform at the Stratosphere and Planet Hollywood and the D. I think I'm kind of a little bit different of a sell because of my long hair and my kind of rocker image.
He's got kind of a rough image to him.
Yeah.
Actually, you don't look like a comedian.
Yeah, I do. Oftentimes I go to shows to perform, and they think I'm a roadie. They think I'm there to pick up the equipment.
Oh, really?
They do, honestly.
Oh, what a mistake they
and
made.
then they'll say, "Oh my God, I didn't think you were. I thought you were with the band. I didn't know you were."
You are the comedian.
Right.
I am the comedian. I'm the funny guy.
And what's great is about the Vegas audience, the tourists that come here, there's a lot of rock and roll people out there. Yes. And especially, I'm 49, so my target audience is 40s and older. So this generation of people that grew up in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, those are my target audience, and we can really relate. You
can relate to each other, things that happened then and things that are happening now. Is kind of the relationship. What sort of, how do you get your jokes that you know are going to be perceived out there with your audience? How do you practice? What do you?
Yes, it takes a lot of trial and error. I've been in show business for 30 years. I used to be the lead singer of a heavy metal band in Los Angeles. So I went from that stage to the smaller stage of just being by myself and working on this craft and seeing it as a craft. Comedy is amazing because very few things are like comedy. To be deliberately funny is very bizarre. To say a series of words, and when I get to a keyword, it's going to get a desired response.
Or not. It's either will or it won't. Oh,
and if it doesn't, it's devastating to us, the comedian.
Well, of course.
But if it works like it should, like a formula,
then you roll off it.
and you can do it every time.
And then you also know your audience. Do you bring your audience into you with jokes and things?
I do. I try to be relatable because it's about, like, the audience has to like you. They're not gonna go on the journey if they don't like you.
If they don't like you, not only any place, that's in any place, they have to like you.
And they want to be surprised. They want to be impressed. That's why magic is so big in Vegas. That's why striptease is so big in Vegas. They love the surprise element, and they don't expect a guy like me to do over 20 celebrity. They don't expect Gary Busey to come out of this. They really don't.
Which is your favorite?
My favorite to do is iced tea. I've known iced tea for over 20 years, so I get to do.
You know him personally?
I do. I've known Ice since 1991.
I love it.
And I got to do my impression in front of Ice.
You did? Did he approve?
He did. He loved it. He laughed. And Coco, his wife, said, "Oh my God, Ice, that sounds just like you."
Just like him. So what would you have to have a tongue, or do you just practice, or do you just pick a character out that you particularly feel you can do?
I just have to find somebody really interesting. If their voice is compelling to me, and I love the caricatures of human beings.
Ozzy Osbourne is one of my favorite, man. I love Ozzy. I've got to meet Ozzy, and he's just such a charming man. And you got to love the fact that he just keeps going, man.
He does.
And
he does keep going.
So I get to bring people in with people they're familiar with. So when they hear me do these celebrity impressions,
they know that person.
They're like, "Oh my God!" And
just like him.
They feel like now we're connected.
Yes.
You know
so
the same
got to
people
get your
I do.
audience connected to what you do. Now, I'm going to do a little bit about this sort of, this thing you do with these magazines.
The comic books.
The comic books are amazing. So what made you start all that as doing, was this before being a comedian, or?
It's kind of come in the midst of it. I was an animator for, I've led many lives. I'm so blessed. I've led a series of different adventures that are all significant.
But you also haven't been afraid to put yourself out there and try them and do them.
No, and
see, that's the secret.
At a young age, my family were animators, and I started at 17 working on She-Ra and the cartoon. So I at a young age started working in animation, which was my dream. I always wanted to work on cartoons. When I fulfilled that, I really wanted to publish my own comic books. So this has been a long time coming, and now that I received an investment, I have the ways and means.
Tools to be able to do it and bring it down.
And since I'm in the cannabis industry, I make things like these custom rolling papers. I'm all about the fun side of this new wave of cannabis entertainment.
I'll just touch on that a little bit, because obviously it's just passed the law in Vegas and now it's legal. I don't think anything was ever illegal in Vegas, but now touching a little bit on that. But I think now, because it's legal, what difference has it made to Vegas as of now? People can be very open about it because it's different now. You don't have to hide it.
Well, get ready. What we're in right now is a very preemptive stage, right? There's a wave that's going to take place this summer. July 18th, cannabis becomes recreationally legal. So any person from anywhere that's 21 and over can purchase cannabis, we will be the new Amsterdam here. I'm a 25-year cannabis activist, and I was part of the Denver experiment. I saw how Denver exploded. No one's going to do it better than Vegas because we got the best food, we've got the best entertainment.
You've got the best restaurants, you've got the best hotels, you've got the best everything.
I dare say our prostitutes maybe might even be more funner than Amsterdam. I don't know. We've got everything.
Well, no,
here.
I wouldn't say definitely more, but I would say equally as so.
Equally.
But I would say Vegas is what Vegas is, and if anybody can't understand what Vegas is, it is full of pornographic. It's full of
It's
few
full of
straight people
adult
here.
opportunities. It
Yeah,
really
it
is,
is.
and I mean, and
there's nothing wrong
cannabis
in it.
is for adults.
But
so
there's nothing wrong in it.
there is not.
I personally don't feel. I personally am not involved in it. I don't take it. That's just my choice.
My
I
favorite
don't
thing in
need it.
Vegas is Kiss Mini Golf. So I'm pretty. I mean, that's what I love about Vegas too. Is it's not just one thing. I mean, you can go skydive right over here in
Yes.
a building. I mean,
Yes.
you can go shoot machine guns.
Yes.
You can ride
And
go-karts.
you can go up in the mountains where it's cold and everything.
Oh, so
You
beautiful.
can actually do everything in Vegas. Vegas is amazing, and I think, unfortunately, we think of one thing, gambling and prostitutes
Mm-hmm.
and all this crazy stuff. But it's not really. There's other things to do here.
There really is.
And it's a beautiful, but it's become a beautiful city. Now, I was driving back on Sunday from Los Angeles. I have never seen so many moving vans, these rental vans, coming into, and I'm thinking, they're all moving into Vegas.
I can tell you why.
They're coming at why?
I'm right now in the process of looking for a new apartment.
Oh.
And we've run into some brick walls because of the cannabis industry. There's a gigantic influx of people moving here.
Oh.
In Denver, we saw over 200,000 people move to Denver in a year. So get ready,
So
Las
get ready,
Vegas.
guys.
There are going to be
I got proof.
a few
I
hundred
saw
thousand
proof.
extra people here because this industry is going to just
I
revamp
think what we ought to
the
do,
infrastructure.
we ought to understand that this industry was always there. It was just undercover.
Right.
It's always been there. It's been there for years. In fact, if we go back to, I think, the Asian countries, way back,
Oh, yeah.
it was one of the most holistic medicines for illnesses and anything like that. So this is not new. So don't start thinking, what did it do to the economy in Denver? I think it kind of.
Well,
They're not complaining.
No, they
Put it that
made
way.
over $1 billion in cannabis sales last year, and that was just to me. No.
Then what did you need
No,
the 25,000 for?
No, what you've seen is schools have been rebuilt. You've seen roads restructured. You've seen the entire infrastructure of cities utilized by this very taxable new entity. I mean, when has this happened in America except when the prohibition?
I was going to say,
years
I'm
ago.
going to say the Kennedys, because they
Yeah.
were the ones with the liquor. I mean,
Right.
bringing liquor in was the same, exactly the same.
Exactly.
As bringing, marijuana.
And here's the great thing about cannabis. We're proving now through science it's good for autism, it's good for Alzheimer's, it's good for any number
Well, what
of
about that young
medicine.
little girl? What about the little girl? I think she was like 5 or 6 years old, and she had these seizures. She had maybe 100 or 200 seizures a week.
Mm-hmm.
And they started giving her this cannabis, and the cannabis they were giving her, this is quote unquote by the way, the cannabis they were giving her was cannabis they were throwing away because it really didn't do too much.
Right.
But then they found out that this little girl, and they started, obviously it was all done through the doctors and everybody, and it was done extremely well, and she got, she may have one seizure a week, or maybe not even that.
It is. It's the CBD oils, and the
That's
CBD oils do not have, properties that are going to give you a high. It's not a THC high.
No, nothing to do with
And
getting
see,
high. It's curing.
The neat thing about the cannabis sativa plant is it's a wonder plant. My late friend Jack Hare, who wrote The Emperor Wears No Clothes, he really started this ball with his very controversial book. And the thing is, our former presidents, George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, the great.
They all took marijuana?
They did. They all used cannabis, and they all grew. George Washington and Thomas Jefferson grew it. There was a time in our country.
These are things we don't know.
You could be arrested for not growing it in our country. There was for hemp.
Really?
In the
I'm learning.
1700s.
See, you can never learn too much.
Henry Ford's first vehicle ran on hemp seeds. I mean, it's the wonder plant that
To go a high car.
we could feed the world with cannabis. 29% more protein than soybeans. So what's happening is they haven't figured out how to regulate it financially.
Yes. But they're starting to now.
Levi's used to last 100 years that were made of hemp. But you can't
do that now 'cause
keep
you want- you've
the
gotta-
Gap open or one of these stores.
No, because then they can't buy the clothes.
We need disposable things in our
That's right.
country.
They've got to wreck themselves.
Way back, I mean, a little bit of history, Eli Whitney beat the hemp people to the marketplace. We now had cotton. Cotton became king. Cotton isn't as durable, and it's actually bad for the environment. But hemp lost because it's not as disposable. So we're learning now that everything's going to be okay.
So we're learning everything's going to be very, very different. So this has now got the answer why all these cars and all these vans were coming into Vegas. Now I've got that answer. Because I was thinking, why is everybody... So now I know that.
Hopefully I'll be able to benefit being the pot comic that I am. So.
Well, that's like a... where can people reach you? Where can they see you? Where are you performing?
I'll be headlining the Rampart Casino on Thursday, May 4th. Please come out, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. That's at 7 p.m. It's an early show.
Okay.
But I'll also be over at the Planet Hollywood, on
awesome.
The 9th.
Yeah, with Britney Spears?
Yeah.
There you go.
I should be so lucky.
Is she still there?
She is still there.
She's fabulous.
And you can catch me. I'll be doing a number of shows, but you can also catch me at the D Casino with Don Barnhart at Jokesters, featuring May 27th and 28th. I'll be there.
Awesome. So they got everywhere. And where can they reach you? On Facebook?
Facebook, Instagram, the 420 Comic, Twitter, all the stuff.
Alex Jeffrey, I'm sorry.
Yes.
That'll be Jeffrey Peterson.
Yeah, Jeffrey Peterson, the 420 Comic.
The 420 Comic.
Yeah,
okay?
keep an eye out, guys. I've got some great stuff coming up, and of course, prepare for some wonderful things this summer. I'll be working with High Times magazine. So,
High Times, we're leaving. We'll be right back. Vegas Live with Ninon. Take care.